Alright, so I'm somewhat confident that this is working, so I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. So let's switch display over to my screen. So hello YouTube, welcome to this stream. Today we're going to be making a prototype for a game that I've been wanting to make for a little while. So this is the outline that I wrote. Basically it involves drawing a lot of pipes on the screen and to basically form logic circuits out of it. I think it'll be a fun programming challenge. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. YouTube's gonna cut away now, and we'll check in again in a little bit. Alright, hello YouTube once again. So now I've gotten to the point where I can click and drag and draw these dots, and I'm going to be and I've created a short to-do list where I want to be able to connect the dots. I want to create a system for deleting the dots, and there's a diagonality issue that I want to solve. So the diagonality issue goes like, which I can't reproduce for the life of me. Maybe it's not so much an issue because I can't reproduce it, but it'll come up later and you'll see what I mean. Okay. Oh, it looks like I'm getting these index out of bounds errors, so I'll solve that next. Alright, next update. So now we can draw points and there's dots connecting them. And additionally, the problem that was solved was that if I start another string, it'll notice that. So it will, right now every time I make a new dot, it'll check there's an adjacent one to connect it, but otherwise it will not. Okay. So let's see. Has that list updated since last time? So there's an issue right now with three-way connections. Like it. Okay, that's how it worked. Let's see. Like you see, it gets wonky when there's three-way connections. So I need to figure out how exactly I want to handle that, because within the game design, I want three-way connections to work in different ways, depending. Okay. And the other thing I want to do is add flow. I think that's going to be the next thing I do. Add flow. I'll think about it. But anyway, so now we got the lines. So that's what we have now. Alright, hello YouTube, we've made some great progress. I'm really excited about this. So I've added the filling, so right now you can draw the lines and you can't, or I took away the nodes because they look ugly and we don't really need them as much anymore. So I'm just drawing this whole thing, and by default what's happening now is it's going to mark this initial spot as the source, and when I hit space it's going to start filling in the lines from the source. So see that? You see how the blue is spreading across the whole thing? I think it looks absolutely glorious. Oh, that's so great. That's absolutely wonderful. Okay, so you can sort of kind of start. Yes, magic. It's beautiful. I know, right? Yeah. So we can start sort of kind of get a feel for, I guess, the more of the plan for this project at this point. So now that we've seen like the idea, or I guess the initial look of what's happening, I'll talk more about what I'm envisioning for the final product. So I have this Google Doc that I set up, and let me just read through real quick, see if it's at all helpful for explaining this. Not really. It's helpful to me, but I don't help for explaining it. Okay, so the idea of this game is you're gonna have a series of puzzles, and the first puzzle might be formatted like this. It might be a source on the left, and maybe a potted plant needs to be watered at the end, and an additional one could just be to draw a line from the source to the potted water, hit space, and then you can see water flows from one end to the other. Okay, so that might be the first level. Oops, that's a problem. I'll think about it later. So that might be the first level. The second level might be say there's a source here. There's 2 potted plants over in the water, and you need to draw. Oops. I almost did Control Z. And you need to draw a path which will go to both pots of water from the source, and then you can press space and run it from the source. And like that. So far that's, I mean, it's not that spectacular. It really isn't. But where I think it'll be cool is I want the water flow to be more dynamic. So one of the features which I'm still a little bit let's say one of the features that I'm a little bit scared to implement, which I haven't fully thought through yet, is so the idea is that if you draw a line and you connect water in a loop like that, like it's not completing right now, but if you do it in a loop like that, maybe by having this water hit this at an angle, it'll cut off the stream. So if we look at this, what I'm envisioning is, so the water flows all the way around, and then once you get over there, it'll cut off this stream, and then it'll start being black, and now this will actually form some sort of loop, because it'll cut off the stream and then until it gets over to here, and then it'll uncut itself off, and like that, and it'll form like a loop. So once you add this feature where you can cut things off, you can start doing interesting logical circuits. For instance, I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with AND gates or whatnot. So AND gates and OR gates and that kind of thing. So if we have 2 sources, an A and a B, we want the output to be, if we want the output to be A and B, what we can do is we can have a line coming from the A. Oops, why do you do that? Okay, let me just restart this. Actually, A and might be a little complicated, but it can be done. I've thought it through before. Maybe 8. I guess an OR gate would be pretty simple. So an OR gate is just like that, assuming these connect, and then they'll reach the end like that. So if either of these are flowing, the water will flow to the end. Then an AND. I think an AND would have to involve some sort of inverter. But yeah, so the idea is you use that to make logical gates. Alright, so this is not going to be a feature. It is an invalid circuit flow. But I think it looks kind of cool all the same. Like if you form a grid like this and you start a flow, they start canceling each other out. But yeah, I guess that would correspond to like a short circuit or something like that if it's in like a real circuit, but it looks cool, right, as is now. Of course, it's going to change later. Okay, time for the last YouTube update. So this is the end of the stream. What we have achieved today is we made this pipe program, where water can flow through it, and also I have added the ability to delete edges. So that's what we got. And I hit space and it'll fill up the edges, hopefully without errors. Yes. Alright. Alright, that's all for today. That was fun. This is the game Water Logic is the tentative name, and we'll see how continued development goes.